Oh my goodness, we're back again. The boys are back.
What's up, boys?
How you guys doing?
Good.
Good.
Long.
All right.
Looking forward to this.
Oh, good. Me too.
I've got Murphy's Irish Cream this time. I'm back to the original.
That's some good stuff there.
That is. Kahlua is good, but this works so much better in coffee.
Yeah. You know what? I started experimenting because I wanted to, because PA still has Pennsylvania state liquor stores. Mm-hmm. So with all the new restrictions that are taking place that started Friday, I was getting worried that they were going to shut down again. I
gotta tell you, when we moved to Pennsylvania years ago, that was total like sticker shock.
Yeah.
Culture shock. Coming from Wisconsin, where you can drive through and get alcohol. When we went to Wisconsin, we're like, what the fuck? We can buy beer here and alcohol here? What's going on?
Goodness. Yeah.
It was crazy.
So yeah, the last week I went over and stocked up.
Nice.
I used the plastic because I wanted to stock up. I left with boxes just in case. But I've actually mixed. I was mixing Captain Morgan Loco Nut, which is the coconut stuff, with Bailey's Irish Cream salted caramel.
Ooh.
I actually mixed those together with some ice, and I was like, "Oh,
sounds
this is good."
I almost got chocolate cherry. That sounded so good.
That looked good too. That'll be my next purchase.
All I know is I got an $85 bottle of wine from our distributor that was supposed to be used during a happy hour, but I didn't know they sent it because there was nothing with it. So I didn't drink it that night. So drinking nice wine tonight.
Nice. Very nice.
Free.
Free is good.
Free is good.
So, I mean, coming from my poor days when I started drinking, and it like the $2 bottle of wine was like, that was a big deal.
Yep.
Little Night Train or Mad Dog.
My wife and I have ventured into the $15, $20 bottle, but when you get a really nice bottle of wine, it's like, damn.
There you go.
You need to slow it down, Dave.
Yep.
All right. So we got JD is in the house. Evening all. Bob is in the house. Wow, JD, your profile came up. I almost thought it was Zach Baggins. Oh,
what an insult!
Oh, actually, I was tipped off by somebody. Apparently,
we heard a story, didn't we?
Yes, there was a little story beforehand where I got a little tip from somebody close to JD that apparently his son saw a picture of Zach Baggins and said, "That's just like you, Daddy." All right, I'm over it. He's probably going to hate me now. Hey, Donna's in the chat room. Nice. So this week, this episode, I'm in charge, and the topic tonight is a little long. But it's why participation is important for proper review, with the subtitle, Why We Torture Ourselves. And it basically goes on the idea, I'll just start my opening statements here. It basically goes on the idea of we get asked our opinion on things, and whether it be books or lectures or TV shows or gadgets or whatever, we get that a lot. And I think for me, it's really important to dive into it, to really actually to experience the entire thing in totality in order to give a good opinion. And I guess this really stemmed from I don't know how much we want to talk about this, but we'll just touch on it. We had classes scheduled for this past week, and they were canceled on us. And I think that's all we're gonna go into with that.
Yes.
But it was a paranormal kind of learning class, how to investigate the paranormal, and we had signed up for it, all three of us, not to make fun of it, not to poke fun or just sit there and be the class clowns, which I mean we certainly can be, but to actually see what was going on, and to not only review it later, but in order to review it later, we would need to actually go through the entire class. And that's what we planned on doing. And just like other things like books, if there's a book that I like or I don't like, and I'm asked to review it or what's my opinion of it, I won't give an opinion unless I've actually read it. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes I'm asked to actually write a review, so I have to read the entire book. And I have been known to angrily toss books across the room because they frustrate me so much. But within like 10 minutes, I get up and go over and pick it up, mostly because I get that look from my wife, like, don't leave that there. So I go over and pick it up and I finish it cover to cover. Mm-hmm. So I think it's really important, even though we torture ourselves sometimes, because we don't want to review something, or we don't want to read a book, we don't want to watch a TV show, we don't want to listen to a podcast. There's been plenty of podcasts that the three of us have listened to together, and it's like, I can't take this. One of us always, it rotates. It's like, fuck this, I'm done with this. And then 2 minutes later,
Tim did that to us today. Son of a bitch.
I'm such a duck.
But it's like,
you're a duck dick.
One of us might drop out, and then the other two keep talking about it, and it just brings the other one back in. And it's like, fuck, man, you guys, damn it. All right, I'll go listen to it. And then somebody else drops out, and then it's like, 10 minutes later, they're back. But I think in doing so, that gives us the I don't know what the qualification, maybe. I don't know what the right word is, but we can give an honest opinion of the entire thing from our perspective, rather than someone that sat through maybe 5 minutes of a 2-hour podcast and said, no, this fucking sucks. I'm not listening to this anymore. So with that, that's my opening statements, so we can discuss and stuff, but I'll pass it off. I think, let's see, I'm gonna flip a cap here and say, the top came up, so it's Tim. Tim is top. So what are your opening statements, ideas, whatever?
Well, I like to continue to experience those things. Like you said, it's not about making fun of them or poking fun. If you're going to give an opinion about something, like you said, you need to at least go through and see what it's about. Honestly, I guess from other types of experiences I've had, once you've been doing something for so long, at least this is my opinion, once you've been doing something for so long, you tend to rut. You tend to get in the same type of, this is what I do. This is always the way I did it, so I'm going to keep doing it this way. I like to keep looking at people that are new and coming up with different ideas and different things to do. So, there's opportunity to learn from everybody at any time. And I'm not going to learn unless I do something different and try something different. So I like to do that. I like to keep up, or at least try to keep up, and experience new things. If you don't, then you're just kind of stagnating.
Right. Dave? Mute.
Fucking mute.
You got drip.
I don't know. I was told that we need to let Tim talk more, so I'm going to use the mute button quite a bit tonight. I'm going to play the role of silent observer. So, no, why do we watch these things? Why do we listen to podcasts, video? Why do we watch videos? Why do we tune into training sessions, because for me, it's kind of getting a finger on the pulse of what's going on out there, what people are hearing, what they're saying, what they're teaching, what they're doing. Because honestly, the TV shows and the amateur paranormal investigation group that are out there, they seem to be kind of the group that is in the community that's driving what goes on in the paranormal. So I think it's important that we keep abreast on what's going on out there. We have to. And in order to talk intelligently and refute things and provide certain types of information and counter information, I think you need to be aware of that type of stuff that's out there. So that's why I do it. And also, coming from a parapsychology perspective, the field has a hard time competing in mainstream science. Let's put it that way. So what goes on the TV shows and the amateur community is really eroding any level of professionalism and ability to, legitimize the research. And to me, that's important, because they're really chipping away at that. And you talk to any major or a known parapsychologist these days, I'm going to say, the number of people that come out and ask us questions versus going to the Paracelebs, that's changed dramatically. And there is a lot of good information out there. So for me, it's a variety of different things. And I got a whole bunch of points to make tonight, and we'll get through them. So
awesome.
All right.
I think that's a great point, that, you get out there with and I mean, for all intents and purposes, it really is an honest thing to call them amateur investigation groups. There's a lot of amateur investigation groups out there. They're hobbyists. That's how I see them. And I'm not saying that as an insult. I'm saying it's a hobby. So when you go out there and look, the only way to really see what they're doing is to attend events where they're participating. That's where the participation from us comes from. I love to participate in ghost hunts where it's pay to play, because I can sit in the corner and just watch what they're doing. I'll pay my $25 or whatever, because most of the time it goes to the historical area or location, the building, and it supports them. So I'm all for that. But this also gives me the opportunity to sit there and watch everybody. And like, I take forms with me. I have a clipboard. Well, now I have a clipboard. I used to just use a book, but I have forms that I fill out where, like, people use devices, how they use them, what kind of methods are being used, conclusions they make based on, what. So I keep all this, I record all this data, and it's the only way to collect this data is to participate. And I think something you touched on, Dave, was like going out there, and I think you said, like, putting the pulse of what's going on. I forget exactly.
Your finger on the pulse of what's going on out there. Yeah.
That's why I like going to conferences, paranormal conferences, because I get to talk to, all the teams are in one place. I don't have to go to separate events. I go to one place and go to table. And it was fun. Like, Tim came up once and we attended that Para-Unity conference. And it was interesting to go from table to table and just see what they're offering, see what they're preaching, for lack of a better word, and the evidence that they're putting out there. And it's exactly the reason I do it is exactly what you did, keeping your finger on the pulse of what's going on, to keep up to date, because that's one of the things that we do. We do this show based on topics that are popular, that are in the culture. The other side jobs that we all do, everything that we investigate is based on what people are doing now. So it's important to get the stay on top of things. All right, I talked a lot, so somebody else jump in.
Tim.
Yes.
You are on deck tonight, my friend.
Oh my gosh. I'm such a talker, which is really strange because that's kind of my daytime job. maybe that's why I just don't do it so much. So let me get some more Irish cream going here. That should.
JD has a question. He says, Dave Schumacher, charged for better or worse? I'm not sure.
Changed it. I think he put the word changed for better or worse. Changed in regards to what? Sorry.
We often forget what we say in the beginning. Depending on how long we've been drinking before the show. So
JD, go ahead and write a clarifying question, and then I'll address that. Sorry. Okay. One bottle of wine in. Here we go. All right.
There you go.
Go ahead, Tim.
Well, basically the question why we torture ourselves, I think it just ends up that sometimes we come across the same thing. I think today, I guess I'm not going to use any names just because probably shouldn't, but there was a
we do stream to Facebook, so if we use names, it's in a way that they don't like it. They could say they could complain.
So well, there was a an interesting paranormal group, I guess, for lack of a better word, that had a very attractive title to the name of what they do, and it had a lot of science in the name of their title. With a heavy sigh and a weighted heart, I was like, I'm going to try it. I'm going to see what they offer. It sounded promising. I shared it with them. Again, I guess when I got into it, it really just didn't matter how scientific that they framed what they were doing. It fell back to being the exact same thing, I think, anyway, with the video that you guys saw. Other than just, they take the technology and they put it in a different box and they wrap it in a different bow. And about 2 or 3 minutes in, at least me, I was just kind of frustrated. I don't want to call anybody out for that, but I guess torturing myself is just like, I have this hope that I'm going to run into something that is, I don't know, for lack of a better word, it's just something that's going to really throw me for a loop and go, I had no clue. And to be fair, that has happened. And actually Dave was the last time that I can remember having that thought was the biophotons. When I first heard it, I was like, bullshit, and then I start looking into biophotons and I was like, whoa, look, here's some, I started at the beginning of the research, which was, I think, like maybe in the 80s or 90s. And as technology got better and the science got better in measuring it, it became a thing. And I can't get into it, but if you want to look them up, it was really fascinating. Like, I had no idea, and that caught me off guard. And I like when that happens. So I guess to get that type of breakthrough where you learn something so incredible, or something that could change how you believe and how you think, maybe is a better word, about the paranormal and how you can approach it, to get to that one, you've just really got to trudge through like, a lot of crap, I guess, for lack of a better word.
Dinosaur piles of crap.
There is a swamp of bullshit.
But the point is, I think, at least from time to time, it's out there. There are people that are thinking different ways, and there are people that are putting in work. And I think the problem is that the people that put in the work and put out information, I don't think that information gets shared like people that build something that says that they're talking to deceased stars or deceased athletes that are famous. And for some reason, that's the stuff that gets shared. That's the stuff that gets talked about. That's the stuff that gets shown around. And I kind of think it's the baby steps that are going to be the building blocks to different discoveries. And sometimes the baby steps aren't very exciting, but every now and then you find one, but you really have to go through the crap to get it.
But that's a good point, because it is baby steps, and the baby steps might not seem all that impressive, because that's how science progresses.
Mm-hmm.
You find one little thing, you build on it. Then you find the next little thing and build on it. So it's not going to be, I took this great photo, or I saw this temperature drop, or I had this experience that proves anything. It's these little baby steps. And, honestly, they're kind of hidden in the scientific literature. That a lot of that little stuff does not make it to mainstream media, and you're not going to hear about it. So the example that Tim gave with biophotons, that work's been going on for a long time, but there's little progression there, step by step, that might be relevant to the field of the paranormal or parapsychology, because
Yes.
in these interesting interactions between biophotons and equipment, biophotons and brain communication, and all of a sudden you start looking at that and go, well, maybe what we consider paranormal isn't really so much paranormal, it's actually normal, and they're just figuring out a way to study it and explain it.
And I got to say, with biophotons, reading the literature and reading the experiments was, well, maybe not the entire experiments, but reading the literature about it was actually a lot of fun. I'm probably have the date wrong. It felt like it was from the 80s. It could have been a little while ago, longer than that. Sorry, I'm getting a little drunk.
But it's gonna be a good show. Tim, I'm drunk.
But to sum up, to sum up what I saw, it was like someone came out and was like, "Hey, check this out. We're going to call this shit biophotons," and like the community was like, "That's bullshit." So they did a study. They did a test. They were like, "Hey, I have positive results." Other people were like, and this is like, you can see the progression. It was fantastic. Yeah. And other people were like, "That's stupid. That's not real." So a couple of those people took it and they tested it, and they were like, "Well, fuck me, I got it too." And so some more people were like, "Yeah, well, you must have done something wrong, so we're all going to get it." And so they all took it, and they were like, "God damn, I did too."
Yep.
Right.
And so then all of a sudden you have a group of people, and then they collectively start working on it. And it was a good read. It was fun to watch how the progression went. I know that that's probably not something everybody likes to read, but I tend to sum things up like that in my mind, and it makes it more interesting for me.
That's an important point, though, because that type of information could be relevant to the field that we talk about and we're involved in. But you don't hear that. You hear a whole lot of wild claims and going from point A to point Z real quick. But what really happens is the type of stuff that Tim is talking about, that you discover things you didn't know before that can explain some of the paranormality of what might be happening. So pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah, and those were decades. That just wasn't, that wasn't a scene from CSI. That was a long time. Right. If I'm remembering correctly, it seemed like that was a progression over a long time.
I like the comment here from Bob, who says, "I read an article today in my research and it changed how I viewed the topic. When I started to read it, I was thinking, this is crap science. As I continued to read, it started to make sense with what the author was saying." And I think that kind of goes along with what you were talking about, Tim. And then, I mean, I can relate to this from yesterday. Like we've always... I know Dave and I is probably going back and forth with Persinger's work, and I've had the idea over time because I read about it a long time ago, and I read some stuff, not everything, obviously, because there's a lot to read. I actually pulled up a list of all his papers, and I was like, "Fuck no, I can't read this." There's no way.
Pages of his papers that he published on some site that tracks them.
Going through it, I mean, I had that preconceived idea. Like, I had this idea of, no, it's just crap. It's not, it was proven wrong. But the more I looked, and this is where participation and the torturing ourselves comes in, because it's like, all right, if I'm going to get into this, I should read up on this. I've read about the study, like from the Swedish team, but I never read the study from the Swedish team. So, all right, here we go. I gotta sit down and read it, and then started reading other things. And the more and more I read, the more it changed my opinion. It's like, all right, now I don't know. Now I went from no, this is not good, it's not valid, to now I'm not sure. There's a lot more to read, and I think that really goes into this idea. Like, the more you read, the more you start torturing yourself with having to read more stuff. And it's not always torturing. I want to make that clear. Like Tim said, I mean, sometimes you get sucked down this rabbit hole, and it's a fun fucking ride. It's like you put your hands up and you're like, whee! Here we go.
It was fun to see Zach strangle himself, though.
Who did that one? Who sent that one? That was you, Dave.
That was me. I took a break at lunch, flipping through channels. I'm like, did I just see that motherfucker strangling himself? So I backed up, and of course I filmed it and sent it to Tim and Kenny.
You're sharing this. But even with that, I mean, those kind of things, like there's so many things that we torture ourselves with. But with TV shows, sometimes it's because we've talked about Ghost Adventures on this show. We've talked about Zach a bunch of times. And in order to talk about anything, including people and TV shows that they run, you really got to watch it. You can't just sit there and watch a commercial and be like, oh, well, based on that 30-second commercial spot, I know everything there is about that show.
Yeah.
And as much as I loathe watching episodes that he puts out, I'll still do it because either it has something to do with a case I'm working on. It has to do with somebody asked me to review the show, or what do I think of the entire series, And I mean, I can say with Ghost Adventures, even though I can't stand the guy, I've watched 20, 25 episodes across all versions of his show because I know he has different like spin-offs and stuff. So I've watched entire episodes. I have DVD collections, thanks to donations from other people that didn't want them anymore. But I have them, so I can watch them and watch like any behind-the-scenes commentary and stuff. And I do that. I don't want to, but I do, just so I can give a valid, honest opinion. Whew. Oh, man.
Okay, so I want to answer JD's question since he clarified. You mentioned something about people approaching parapsychologists versus approaching Paracelebs and said the number had changed for better or worse. I think that people actually approaching qualified people that know something about the field and what might be going on, such as parapsychologists, I think they've reported a decline in good cases to look at and investigate. And it's probably, to me, it's for the worse, obviously, because you get people who don't know what they're talking about. They watch a TV show and they're going into homes and they're going into businesses and they're telling people a whole lot of stuff that may or may not have any factual basis or any data to back it up. And at least, controversial as it is, I'll admit parapsychology, at least they apply a science-based methodology to what they're doing. And they have data and they talk to people, and they also are concerned with people and their mental health. And they always go back and say, have you talked to a physician, a psychiatrist, a psychologist? They rule those things out. That's a lot different than what people are doing, going into homes and investigating certain cases. So anyway, it's for the worse. And I think they call it a watering down of decent cases to go and investigate and collect good data and try to figure out what's going on.
I remember watching like early, they're not ghost hunting shows, but like In Search Of and Unsolved Mysteries and stuff, where they would bring in actual experts. You would see parapsychologists, you would see chemist or biologist, you would see these actual experts come in on these shows. And then gradually, when the ghost hunting shows took over, it was more, whoever is the celebrity on that show, we're just going to sit them down and do an interview. So they're commenting, they're giving expert commentary on their own show.
Yep.
Which
Which reminds me of the fact that somebody, I think Lloyd Auerbach once said that he was at a conference and a certain paracelebrity that has a certain show that has the word ghost and maybe hunters in it. They basically said that they're the ones who invented the term and explored, I think it was poltergeists. And before them, there was no serious investigation of ghosts. And I remember Lloyd commenting on this podcast that he corrected them. And guess what? He was the jackass of the conference.
Right.
So anyway,
you get this.
There's good reason to go to these things, even if you don't agree with them, and you're torturing yourself to try to set the record straight and provide good information.
Right. And it's horrible. It's horrible when you see this kind of stuff. Because I mean, Lloyd, I don't always agree with all the things he said, but I have had the opportunity to speak with the guy. I've talked to him on the phone, and really nice guy. I was actually surprised. I'm gonna totally pat myself on the back. I was surprised when he told me that he uses some of my case files in his classes, and I was like, "What? That's pretty cool." Okay, you're not a dick. No, I didn't think he was a dick before. But it's when a guy like that, he has knowledge. He has a lot of knowledge, certainly more than the ghost hunters, the paracelebrities that sit behind their booth and do nothing more than overact or underact mostly. And it's a shame that the celebrity is put on this pedestal where people admire them more and look up to them more and ask for advice more, rather than someone that's been academically trained to look into these kind of mysteries. And it's just sad when you tell me that when he became the jackass of the conference. That's just sad. And it reflects on the attendees, not on Lloyd himself.
Right.
So, oh my God, that pisses me off. Oh, Jen, oh my God, Kenny, don't get me started on the early ghost hunting shows. Wait, have you been drinking?
I think they might be better than the recent ones, but they were still pretty bad.
Yeah, they were really, really bad.
Oh, God. Anyway.
So, yeah, I mean, what else? You got some more points there, Dave?
I do. So I would say that when I go into these things, I'll be honest. I don't know if I agree or disagree before going into them. I kind of try to keep an open mind, and I try to learn, understand what's going on with the field and what they're saying, and kind of know what's being said and thought and what they're pitching. What are they telling the peers? What are they telling the public? What are they telling clients, people that they go into homes and try to help? Because I think Tim's talked about this before. He's had to clean up the mess of some really bad groups before. So to me, that's really important to follow what's going on in the field. So like when Tim gets a call and there's a disaster in the making, and he's trying to, assure the people or comfort them or try to, give them some perspective, that it's really good for him to have an idea of what's going on in the field and what people might be telling these people, so Tim can deal with it appropriately.
Right. He's got some experience, or he's prepared for it.
He's prepared. He's thought about what they've said and what they're doing, and he can tell them, this is true, this isn't true, you should think about this, you should do that, which he did a really good job with a recent case that he shared briefly on this show, and he shared more with us privately.
Right. And that's one of the benefits, I mean, of the three tortured souls, because we have no restrictions on torturing each other. And it's nice to actually, like, if one of us has something going on and we're not sure how to deal with it, because I know I've done it a couple times where it's like, all right, I'm working on this case, this is where I am, and I send you guys stuff like, hey, read over this, this is what they sent me, or this is what I'm sending them, and make sure I'm doing it right before I send it off because I want to look smart, not stupid. So help me out here. But it's nice to have that experience around with us, because we can talk about things and get that knowledge beforehand and say, all right, well, I can prepare this way, and we can offer suggestions of what to do afterwards. And it's all because we all do our own thing by going out to these events, participating in these events, or watching these videos, especially now with everything online. Everything's virtual, so we can attend virtual lectures, and from people that we do admire, and then people we don't admire, we can jump in. Most of the time they can't kick us out, because if we don't say anything, we're incognito and just let us go.
Sometimes we get vicared before the class.
It happens.
I should have a ballad sung to me about that.
I'm going to work on that. That's going to be the next theme song for the show.
But so I mean, even I tried to write down some examples and examples of torturing ourselves. And there's been times I actually sat through a lecture from a person that we all know and love, that did a lecture, and I went in anticipating that it was going to suck. It was at a ghost hunting event. It was at a local historical event. But I went in actually thinking, all right, this is going to suck. I'm pretty sure this is going to suck. But I wanted to give a review of it. So I got there early, and I sat through the entire hour of ums and ahs until the end of the lecture, even though there was only 3 people in the lecture. It was pretty sad, but I stayed anyway. And it was torture. It really was, because there was a lot of bullshit being spoken, a lot of misinformation. But I was able to give an honest opinion of that afterwards. When people came up to me after the event and said, what did you think of the lectures? I could say, well, this one was pretty good. This one was awful. Don't have them back again. Or I wouldn't ever attend that. And I think that's important, because it goes along with what you're saying, what you guys are saying. We need to keep our finger on the pulse of what's going on. We need to keep current. And if there are speakers out there that are giving really bad information, you need to attend that in order to determine that it's bad information. And not only that, but to be able to explain why. For me, I talk a lot. Obviously, everyone that watches this knows I talk a lot. I also write a lot and very detailed. So I'm not going to tell you this lecture sucks or this device is bullshit. I'm going to say that and then give you all the details of why. And I think that's very important for us to be able to support why we have that opinion. So yes, we torture ourselves because we love you out there.
Oh,
wow! There it is.
Thank you guys. Good night. You guys have a
and we're done.
We're done. Nope, we can't top that. That's it. Well,
that's funny.
I know. I don't know if we talked about the video I shared. I certainly know I can't talk about it, but that brings up another one of the I sent you guys where they had done an exorcism, or what they considered that exorcism.
Oh yeah.
I know we can't really play it or talk too much detail, but it's good to have you guys, because when I saw it, I was like, okay, yeah, no. There's a lot of stuff going on here that's really bad, but I can never assume that I have the entire picture just because I have the entire picture. It's good to share that and make you guys watch that too. So that you can cuss me for making you watching it, but then you guys have different perspectives, about what's going on.
I love how some of our messages start like, "This is so fucking awful. Wait to see this. Here, watch. Click this."
Well, I mean, but you have a person that's apparently, according to what their description is an exorcism, according to what at least I saw, was highly unethical. And a person laying on the ground saying that they were hurting that person, that they were hurting them, and to let them up, and they refused.
So we can give a general description.
Sure, I think so.
So it's just basically it's a home video. It's someone holding a phone of I guess you would call it an amateur exorcism. That's what I would call it.
Very
family-based thing. We're not sure if all the people were related or friends or what, but there were several people, and at least 3 people were holding down another, like physically holding someone down on the ground while another performed this exorcism ritual.
I think it was a young child, right?
It was a young girl, young lady. There was another lady sitting in a chair, checking her phone, which I found hysterical. I mean, I thought that was absolutely hilarious.
There's an exorcism going on, but I got a text message.
She's like, whatever.
Yeah. I got to tweet the shit out of this.
I mean, literally, like, the chair is 2 feet, I think, from the woman that's being held down, and she's just there like, oh, yeah, let's see what's on Facebook today. Oh, Twitter's up. So, and that's pretty much the gist of it. I mean, that's everything, and they start screaming at her, and they're saying certain things that we won't go into, but or at least I won't go into. But they yell at her. They're talking to her, and then at the end of the video, which is only a few minutes long, she's all better, and they let her go and get her up. And I think one person apologizes for hurting her or something like that. But that's the general description. So there's no details. You won't be able to figure out who it is. But yeah, I mean, Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, I think that's just one of the ways that, like, we watch this, but things like that, to go through and work out what's going on with somebody that has more knowledge than me, like you guys. I mean, it's a possibility I'm going to end up running into something like this, cleaning up someone else's mess. It's so, I guess, kind of just going back on what you were saying, like having that knowledge of what's going on and why people are doing what they're doing made me think about that video. I also reached out to someone that is a friend of mine that is in a specific faith that knows a lot about exorcisms, and was, just to confirm from that church, that they were like, I don't know what that is, but that's not even, no, just don't, that's not good. And it's good to have. I hate torturing myself like that, but it's good to know. It's good to have that information when you get to the end.
I think with that particular case, it's very disturbing to watch this, because this is not scripted. It's not something on TV. It's not a Zach Baggins special for Halloween. This is real life. This is something that really happened to a family, especially to a person that was being forcefully held down. And to watch that, sometimes it's hard to watch. But I think you touched on a good thing, is that, or a specific thing where we have different perspectives. We look for different things, and coming together as a team is really good, because you look for something over there. You look for something maybe from the psychology point of view. And you're picking out certain terms, certain phrases and stuff. I know for me, I'm looking at visual details. I'm looking for, all right, who's doing what and where. I actually started looking around the house at details of the house to see, all right, is there any identifying marks? Can I figure out where this is taking place? And go from there. Dave, I don't remember what you were looking for, but we were all offering different things. I think you picked out certain phrases, or
I didn't pick up. I looked at it and said something like, if you cannot pronounce the words of the exorcism ritual or the deliverance ritual, you probably shouldn't be doing it, because the demon, if it's real, is like I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. So I'm just going to stick around and whatever.
Steven's like, you're not speaking Latin. You're speaking
actually, I've read a fair number of books, looked at some literature with exorcisms, and it's a specific, at least in the Catholic Church, which is where I was brought up and that stuff. It's a specific ritual, and I would think you would have to at a minimum, pronounce the freaking words right to actually do an exorcism. So I picked up on that right away. Like, what the hell? What is going on here?
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, like I picked out the woman sitting on her phone. Like that was the first thing that came out to me. And I was like, this is.
It just shows that having a variety of different perspectives and coming together and discussing them is really constructive and helps you get to the bottom of what might be going on here.
Mm-hmm. And it goes back to, I mean, we torture ourselves, and we keep using the term tortured. It's kind of serious and kind of satire because we all love this stuff. We keep doing it. We keep doing it to each other. It's almost like it's three friends that constantly try to one up each other, saying, "Oh, I can show you the stupidest shit." Oh, really? You think that's stupid? Wait till you see this video. Boom. And then we talk about it. But we torture ourselves in order to gain a better perspective of it. And that's
the video of Zach choking himself. I think that was probably
that's the winner of the week. I was laughing my ass off.
If you would, can you post that? Can you post that clip later? You don't have to do it right now.
Give me a bit. I might be able to post it on here.
Was that like the latest episode or something? I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know when it was. It was Travel Channel, lunchtime. Okay. It's probably a rerun. So let me work on it.
Okay.
You guys talk. I'll work on it.
I mean, basically, there's a video. They're on a bridge. They're on a bridge somewhere, and Zach starts choking himself, and the entire sequence, which should be like dead serious, pardon the pun, it should be dead serious, and like Dave's laughing. It should be dead serious and scary. You know, if you were in a real life situation like that, it would be really scary. But when we watched it, like I cracked up. I was laughing my ass off because I'm like, this is so Zach. It's so him.
I don't even know what to say. It was funny, and all I could think was just, bless his heart.
There it is. Bob put it up.
Yeah, the other thing was awesome. I think it was a reaction to someone else.
I just posted it to our Three Tortured Souls Facebook page, so hopefully that won't get deleted.
Title: Zach Baggins strangles himself for 10 minutes. Oh, dude, you're not doing it right.
Okay. I didn't put any title on it. It's just a vague video post.
The link that Bob put up, he put it in the chat room. But when it comes up on Facebook, it actually comes up with the title. Oh, wow. That's funny.
I'll try to find it and share here.
Oh, my God.
Oh, here we go. I posted it. Yes, you did post it on our Facebook page.
So, yeah, I mean, and just torturing ourselves is just something that we do. I think it's not always torture. Like I said, it's not always torture. It's something that we like to do. I actually enjoy interacting with paranormal groups because a lot of them are my friends, even psychics. I have psychics and mediums that I'm friends with, even though we're totally different views, polar opposites. Still can be friends with them, and I enjoy talking with most of them and hanging out.
Absolutely.
But go ahead.
One of my best friends for a really long time, and I love him. I love his family. We are polar opposites on just about everything. There's probably very few things that we could agree on. And he is so intelligent. He really makes me work to think about the information I'm presenting to him during a discussion or a debate that we're having, and I can't appreciate him enough for that. But after us throwing stuff, around at each other, he's still one of my best friends for a long time.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's cool. And I mean, that's like us. I mean, we can disagree, and I know I keep bringing it up, but me and Dave disagree a lot. I mean, we can be serious and disagree on stuff, but
but it's a professional disagreement,
right?
It's not a personal.
And I think that's the secret. We don't take it personally. Like,
which I've learned a lot from Kenny, and he's challenged me, and I do the same to him. So
yeah, I've learned a
lot. We're trying to learn from each other and move on. It's not, you're challenging me, screw off. I don't want to have anything to do with you.
Can I play this? Yes, I can, Dave.
There you go.
Wait a minute. Let me get it going here. Let me set this up, because I think our viewers need to see this.
They must see this.
I think they see it. Make sure the volume is right. Share screen, share audio, click. Got it all right. Let's see what happens. Okay, there it is. Let's enjoy this clip together, people, as we approach the ending of this show. Here we go.
I would have blacked out, bro. Oh, God, buddy. What are you doing? No! Stop. Let go of yourself. Let go of your hand. Let go of your neck. Let go of your neck. Let go of your neck. Stop it. Zach, stop, bro. Stop. Zach, let go of your neck. Help me, bro. Zach, let go of your neck. He's not letting go. Bro, stop. Hey,
That gives a whole new meaning to choke the chicken.
Oh my goodness, that was horrible. That was like, oh my goodness, our friend might kill himself, but make sure you keep the camera on him. Don't get that camera off him. Put one down on the ground. Make sure it's facing us as we struggle. Oh, that was horrible. And the noises and stuff that he made. Oh my goodness.
But it is important to watch that, because that is what people are seeing.
Yeah.
And is influencing the mass amount of people that are in this field.
Yeah.
Ooh, Tim gave it the red card. Damn, he didn't even go to yellow.
No, red. It's going straight from yellow to red.
Wow. You're right, though. I mean, and that's something that's why we participate. That's why we torture ourselves. We hear this. We hear, because I've heard this a couple times now, at least a dozen times on social media about this scene. So you have to look at it. You have to watch it so you understand what they're talking about and then how they're interpreting it. Mm-hmm. And you can also offer alternative explanations for this or ideas. Like, is this a demon possessing him to make him choke himself? I'm sure there's like
those eyes, Kenny.
Maybe a possibility. I have to be open-minded and say maybe like a sliver. Like if this whole screen represented the possibilities, then
1 pixel.
Then yeah, 1 pixel that you can't see by yourself would represent, yes, the possibility. Is he pulling a Jim Carrey and doing it himself for ratings? Yeah, that's where I would lean. That's where I would definitely kind of drift to that.
If you read anything by the Catholic Church or other religions, have you ever, in anything that anybody's ever read or published, have you ever seen a possessed person choke themselves? From my limited knowledge, I'm going to say no. Somebody can prove me wrong, but I have never, ever listened to from taking. Yeah, we can diss on them for that shit.
Yeah.
But I have not come across it yet, and maybe somebody else has, but I have never read an account of anybody who's possessed choking themselves out.
Right.
Ever. It
Right.
doesn't fit the traditional reports and phenomenology of what people present when they're possessed.
Yeah.
I mean, at least read the fucking literature and do something that is consistent with what people have reported.
That's it. Dave's on a roll. Go get him, Dave.
I mean, Jesus Christ, if you're going to fake shit, at least look at what's been reported.
Right.
They do a better job of that in Hollywood, for crying out loud, on movies. All right, I'm done. High horse, done.
Carol asks, any surveys on how many of his viewers actually believe this bag of shit? I haven't ever come across, but that is a great idea.
That's a good question.
See, that's exactly where my mind goes.
He's worth $30 million, so there's a good number of them. That's all I'll say.
You know, I think it
you
really
get into the realm of pissing the three of us off and torturing us because it's so ridiculous what goes on there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is a good question because it's, I mean, yeah, he could be worth 30 million, but that takes into account like his museum, and his other stuff, royalties from past shows and stuff, all that. But I mean, it's that's popularity doesn't actually mean belief. So he could be popular. I know people, I hear the excuse sometimes where people say, oh, I watch it for entertainment. It's funny. They don't actually believe it, but they watch it. And of course, when you have people like us that will go watch a scene over and over and over again because we're trying to pick it apart or something like that, yeah, we're building up his views. But this is interesting. I mean, I maybe
that's a good question.
What do you think? Is this something that we could do? Could we put out a survey that has like maybe 5 questions and just send it out to everyone that we know?
That's definitely easy enough to do, but we need to expand it beyond what the people that we know, because people that we know, we obviously, I think we attract a crowd of potential skepticism.
What are you saying?
Scientific reasoning, but I think we need to expand that and do it somehow anonymous so people don't know what we're trying to get at.
Right. This is we'll have to work on this.
Yep.
The project.
It's a good question though. It's a really good, I would really like that. And I think that went back to a question I had. I think it was on your show last night, Kenny, where I asked you how many of these paracelebs truly believe what they are doing and acting on TV. Do they really believe?
Yeah.
Do they really believe it or not?
Yeah, it's very hard to tell. I mean, with some of them, I would, and it's just an opinion, an assumption that I would say that I think a lot of them do believe it. But when you get into the really like uber dramatic people like Zach, do I think he believes everything that happens? I don't think so. I think he's a good, shrewd businessman. What he lacks in credibility, he certainly makes up for in marketing himself.
Yeah. I agree.
And I can totally give him that compliment because he knows how to fucking work the system.
He knows his audience.
Yeah, he really does. And he plays them. He plays them really, really well.
I hear people say Zach's stupid, and I'm like, no.
No, he's a genius. He's an evil.
I would say that he's actually quite intelligent.
Yeah. Whew. Oh, all right. That's a weird, strange way to end the show. We just said Zach's intelligent. Holy fuck. Oh, we have drank way too much. We need to stop talking. But, I mean, that's part of it. That's a good way to sum it up. I mean, as much as I don't like saying something like that, it's the truth. And it's part of participating and torturing ourselves, because we have to admit, yeah, the guy's intelligent because he does know his audience. He knows how to work his audience.
That is the epitome of what we do and why we listen to these things and watch them. So we can point out the complete and utter crap and talk about what the reality is of what's going on or what could potentially be going on.
And to build on that, not only do we point out the crap, but we will acknowledge the attributes, the reality, the positives. You know, like we spent a lot of the show, when we do on all the shows, we pretty much make fun of Zach, you know, in his show. But in this show tonight, we made fun of him, but we end it by complimenting him. And that's it. We're not, you can't just go in looking to point out the crap, because you're going in with we talked about it last night, biases. Right. You're going in with a total bias, and you're showing it. If you're just going to point out the crap, if you be fair, and that's how you should be. That's why we look into these things. That's why we watch full episodes. That's why we sit for entire lectures. That's why we buy the equipment that is being used, so we can play with it and test it, because we want to give the full story.
Yep.
You know, not just what we want to tell you, because we certainly don't want to tell you Zach is intelligent. At least I don't. In fairness, that's the truth. We have to say it. And I think that's what sets people like us and other people like us apart from others who are just out to, hey, this is what I think, and that's all I'm going to tell you.
Yep.
I think it's really important that you torture yourself in order to get the full story. Yep. And that's my final statement. So we're over an hour. So you guys want to jump in with your final thoughts?
Well, I like Carol's suggestion.
You guys should do drunk ghost stories, like drunk history.
Wow.
That is actually a phenomenal idea.
So we absolutely need funding. So we can do.
Got to quit our job so we can do this shit full time.
We need a Ghost Story Science Theater 3000, and we need a drunk ghost stories show.
Can you imagine the three of us retelling the Myrtles history drunk?
The Myrtles, the Amityville, Enfield, all this stuff.
The Exorcist.
The Exorcist.
That would be good. I mean, there's nothing left. We got to do at least one. We got to do a pilot.
Not to mention the not
we got to. I mean, that's just
all right.
We have to.
So here we go. I want everyone that's watching, either live now or on the replay, vote. I'll put it up later. I'll post it on our Three Tortured Souls Facebook page later. That if we were going to do a drunk ghost stories, what would you want to be the focus of the pilot? Like, what story would you want us to do? And then maybe in the next couple of weeks or something, we'll get together and we'll just get fucking wasted and we'll tell the story.
You know what? It would be fantastic if it wasn't for COVID and we could actually get together physically and do it.
Oh my God.
It would be freaking unbelievable.
Well, I mean, maybe we will someday. So let's not give up hope. I think it'll happen. We'll get back there someday. But I think, oh my God, I
think Carol's got the idea.
Phenomenal.
That's going to be good.
It'd be
Carol, for the win tonight.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
All right, guys. All right. Did you actually give final thoughts, or I think Tim just jumped into that question?
Well, that was my final thought. It was so good.
My final thought is you want to understand people's mindset. you can't claim to be knowledgeable about the field unless you know what's going on in the populace, what people are saying and doing. So there's opportunities to discuss things, to educate people, and to move the field forward. And I think it's just a point of, not only identifying the positives, which there are some people are trying to identify the positives, but we need to identify and call out what's wrong, what the bullshit is, and get the real story out there.
About this drunk show. I'm already drunk, so it's making me laugh.
Totally. That's okay. You can fuck up my.
It's gonna be so much fun.
Oh, drunk.
Yes, it's gonna be fun.
Anyway, that's it. I have nothing else to say.
I'm sorry, Dave. I was trying not to laugh. I was started thinking about how much
serious. And Tim's like, drunk show. Fuck you, Dave.
He started laughing. I saw his like shoulders all going, and I'm like, no, please hold it together. Dave's talking.
What did Bob just say? Drunk history, the choking of Zach.
Oh my God.
Oh God. Okay. I'm done.
Yeah, I am too. So yeah.
That was good.
Oh, that was fun.
All right. I don't have anything coming up. I am totally out of scheduled events for the year. I think the only thing that I have is next year, and that's like in February. I think I can't even unlock my phone. Let me see. February 11th to the 13th is Phenomenology for now. We don't know. I'm not even expecting that to happen. Yeah. Unfortunately, because of all the bullshit. But
yep.
Well, definitely, I'll be here next Friday doing the Skeptical Help Hour at 9:00 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific. 2 hours if you want to do Q&A with me. I don't know what I'm doing yet. I'm actually working on. I'm trying to but search for that Shirley Black that was mentioned in yesterday's show about near-death experiences that she's had. So I'm going to try and see if I'm not promising for next weekend, but I'm working on that. But that's all I have. You guys?
Nothing. I am off of work and just relaxing next week. And I think I'm going to be up north when we try to do our next show. So,
okay, cool.
We'll see if that happens. So,
all right. And then we will work on these other projects that popped up tonight, and we'll see if we can flesh them out a little bit more. I'm so excited about this. So excited.
Not to mention, I think it was Tim who said that the Three Tortured Souls should open a bar at some point by the same name.
I agree.
Copyright, trademark. So
trademark, copyright, yeah, all of that. And we'll do it when we're old, and we'll just sit on the porch. We'll have some young guy bartending, or actually some young chicks.
And we'll just be bitching and moaning about the paranormal show.
Yep. Let's do it. Every 5 minutes, because I'll get senile. Every 5 minutes, I'll be like, y'all remember when Zach choked himself? That was funny. And then I'll be quiet. Hey, remember that time Zach choked himself? That was awesome. All right, guys. Great show. That was great. That was wonderful. Fun. Loved it. So everyone else, thank you for spending your Saturday night with us. Really appreciate it. It's nice to see everybody coming out and having discussions, not only with us, but among themselves. It's really, really cool. It keeps us humble. And so does the alcohol. So with that said.
Yeah, I think Jen said at that point, it should be called Three Tortured Drunks. I can't disagree with that.
If only we can make a banner that slowly, like ghostly, morphs into from souls to ghosts or drunks. That would be good.
Funny.
All right. I'm going to hit the video and close this out. So I guess have a good weekend, guys. See you later.
Stay safe.
Bye.